This right here, this is the first time I'm seeing my work in print. At least my own personal work. Not a client, but my own. My iPhone photo book, my Ecuador book, and a few shirt designs that I made just for fun and turned them into a real collection. That's what I'm going through today. This isn't a product launch. This is me finally opening the work that lived on a hard drive for years and seeing what it looks like. If you've been following along for the last couple of videos, you know that this is the part where the work finally becomes something tangible, something you can hold. Today, I'm just opening it up and I'm sharing that with you. As I mentioned in an earlier video, I've spent years creating work that never really went anywhere beyond the hard drive. Most of it was photography, some of it was personal projects, some of it was just ideas I kept telling myself someday I'd get around to. This first book is probably my most personal. Back in 2008, someone close to me bought me my first iPhone. At the time, I wasn't interested in technology. In fact, I didn't really want the phone. But once I started using the camera, something changed. For the first time, I always had a camera with me. I stopped missing moments, small moments, fleeting moments. Things I would have noticed and forgotten because I didn't have a camera nearby. Moments when I saw light in a different way and composition. Moments in time that I knew I couldn't get back. These images were never created for clients or assignments. They were just observations. Little pieces of everyday life that caught my attention. The files aren't technically perfect. The early iPhones certainly weren't, and the images aren't sharp. But there's something honest about them. Years later, I started putting those images together and realized they were telling a story about the way I see the world. And that eventually became this book. Honestly, this is the first time I've ever seen these photographs in print, and that's a pretty special feeling. The second book comes from a completely different chapter of my life. It's called Ecuador, the Pacific Coast Region. These photographs were made while teaching photography abroad. Between working with the students, I documented the places we visited, the people we met, the food we shared, and the experience of being somewhere completely unfamiliar. For years, those photographs sat on a hard drive too. Now they're a book. Two very different projects, two very different stories, both finally living somewhere other than on a computer. These books represent one side of my creative life. The next projects represent another. I've always wanted to create my own shirt designs. Not because I thought they'd sell, not because I thought they were a business opportunity. I just thought it'd be fun. I wanted to create something that reflected the interests and experiences that shaped me. The first collection is inspired by classic cars. Growing up, my dad spent years restoring old vehicles. Watching him rebuild something worn out and give it a second life left a lasting impression on me. This collection comes from those memories. Glovebox Classics includes not just classic cars, but all collective cars, including my Honda Element. I bought it back in 2007 as a work vehicle for my photography business. Over the years, I've watched this strange little vehicle develop loyal following among campers, travelers, and outdoor enthusiasts. I've become part of that community myself, so creating designs around that felt natural. Then there's Route 66. A few years ago, I explored a small section of it, and something about that experience stayed with me. Maybe it's the nostalgia, maybe it's the history, or maybe it's the reminder that the journey is often more important than the destination. This collection grew from that feeling. Music City Afterlife comes from another part of my story. When I first moved to Nashville, I spent several years writing songs. I wasn't chasing fame. I was fascinated by the creative process itself. The songwriter sitting in the corner with a notebook full of ideas. The person trying to turn life into something meaningful through creativity. I still enjoy writing songs today. That spirit inspired this collection. And finally, there's the creative push. This one is probably the most personal of all. During COVID, I started a podcast called The Creative Push. That eventually led to this YouTube channel. It became a place where I could talk openly about creativity, self-doubt, making art, and why creative work matters. This collection is simply an extension of that journey. Looking at all of these things together, I realized none of them are really about books or shirts. They're reminders of experiences, pieces of different chapters of my life, things that once existed only as ideas, photographs, memories, and unfinished projects. Now they're real. There's something I can hold, and honestly, that's the part that matters most to me. I hope this video reminds you that creativity isn't about just making things. It's about sharing a piece of how you see the world. If you've been holding back, waiting for the perfect time, the perfect project, or the perfect version of yourself, maybe this is your sign to start anyway. The world doesn't need perfect. It needs your perspective. Give it a chance to exist. I want to leave you with something today before I go. If any of this work moved you or made you think about your own work sitting on hard drives, I hope you'll take that work seriously. Your story matters too. This is the final chapter of this series. The next video I'll make will shift into something new, but I wanted this to feel like a real ending. There's links to everything in the description below, and if you've been here from the beginning, thank you. This one took a while for me. I want to know, do you have things on your hard drive that you'd like to make a physical product out of? Share with me what those are. Let me know in the comments. I read every one of them, and I'll see you next week.